Hey everybody, this is Blue. Well, over the last few weeks, we've been seeing a lot of videos on YouTube talking about how D&D, WotC are redesigning, revamping orcs. They have bent the knee, they become woke, and they are now saying that orcs need to be treated as equals to humans. And I disagree with that a lot. I think that this situation has gone way too far, and that a lot of people are intentionally forgetting or misleading others with this one fact. If you're the GM, you can play them as well as you want to. If you want them brain dead, violent, disgusting things, well, it's your world. Go for it. If you want them to have some culture, it's your world. Go for it. You can play orcs or any other race any way you want. So, why do we have all this drama? Because D&D, WotC, they are ignoring the lore. They are literally bastardizing the lore. And that's wrong for them to do. They are not showing respect. And so my view, I play a different game. I play Rollmaster. But my view is screw them. If WotC wants to do this, then don't buy their product. Don't give them any money. Move on. There are hundreds of different wonderful games out there. Play them. It's that simple. I am somewhere in the middle. I don't want my orcs to be these brain dead savages. I want them to be something more. The reasoning is you compare your heroes to their villain. That's what sets them apart. If your heroes only fight orcs, stupid orcs, and that's all they're going to ever amount to. Orc killers. Not that awesome. But if your orcs are more intelligent, more cunning, and all that, they are using strategy, logistics, and all that, then when you're fighting them, you have to be, your heroes, your PCs, have to be better. And so, if you want epic battles, you need an epic enemy. So, I got the two orcs here. The farthest one is the barbarian that, just gets stuff off dead bodies and all of that. And if that's what you want, again, you can do that. It's your game. But I am somebody who plays a lot of war games, and I have to wonder, logistics. How did these orcs get their weapons? How did they get their armor? How did they get the food? How do they get strategies? Well, they have to have a degree of sentience, a degree of intellect. They have had to develop. They have a language, which is a sign of culture. And so if you want them to be something better, you have to also kind of realistically look at them as having culture. And so we have to do something better with the orcs. A lot of the drama for this is because of her. Female orc. Nobody wants to, no, I shouldn't say nobody. Most people do not want to discuss this problem. Because if there are female orcs, that means there are baby orcs. And if all orcs are evil, then you're saying all women are that all female orcs are evil and all that. There's no innocence but babies. What have they done? And when you raid an orc village or an orc cave, are you killing orc women? Are you killing orc babies. And so we got to just get over this. Um, there are a lot of woke people out there that are also, they are condemning, using their modern politics, they're talking about how bad it was for orcs to rape women. Well, what if there are orc females? Couldn't there be human men raping orc women? You know, everything can go both ways. If you make the orcs humanized. And one of the problems I have is because people want to turn the orcs into savages without any type of culture, you know, it irks me a bit because, you know, one thing I learned is, you know, if you reverse roles, if it sounds odd, then, you know, the original way should be odd too. You know, so let's reverse roles here. We have this, well, a lot of people have this, sorry, understanding that a group of orcs, if they see a group of dwarves, are just going to attack them outright. Those orcs are savages, they're evil, and, you know, darn those orcs. But the dwarves, they have sophistication, they have culture, they have language, they have all this. There's dwarven females and all that. But let's reverse that. You have a group of orcs going down the pathway, and all of a sudden they get ambushed by the dwarves. What are the dwarves going to do? Well, they have the mentality of killing all orcs, right? But it's all right for the dwarves to have a culture and a history, but orcs, no, we can't. They can't have a culture, and so that's kind of the problem that I have. I want the orcs to have a culture. I want them to have a personality. I want them to have a reason to fight. I don't like the Tolkien, you know, Sauron dominated over the orcs. And that's why the orcs did what they did. It makes them, you know, they're just cannon fodder, not something interesting. Now, in my world, I do have creatures that are absolutely nasty. I have these large insectoids. They're kind of like locusts. And they go from area to area and they devour everything and then move on. And so, yes, you can have those types of creatures, but if there is a race that you want to have a little bit higher, what do? You just develop it the way you want to. You are the game master, okay? Homebrew them. Homebrew your orcs as you want. Homebrew your ogres as you want. Make the game your game because it is. So I've been fighting this for a week or so, and it hit me last night on how to kind of fix this. If you're into the crispy games, you're not going to like it. Whatever. But if you like crunchy games, and that is giving every race, every species, a sentient level. This is from 0 to 10. And basically, what level of sentience does that race have? So you could have the 0 represents no sentience whatsoever. We are talking like your rats and all that. They might be in swarms or whatever you call it, hordes, but they have no structure whatsoever. They basically raid, eat, sleep, and crap. That's all they do. Okay? They have no sentience. Then, now I don't have this all worked out yet. Okay? Sentience level 1 would be your monkeys, your primates. Because in the real world, monkeys, they form groups. They use tools. They have shown different levels of emotions with various other primates. They go to war with other groups of primates. And so they are shown some basic sentience. And it has been proven, in science that some primates can learn to communicate in very different ways, so they can develop a language. There is a level of sentience there, and so although very basic, it's still there. Number 2 in my little chart here is the ogres, the trolls from Tolkien's world, where they seem, like easily manipulated. They're just big, strong beasts, and there's no complexity to them whatsoever. They are cannon fodder. And then on this chart here, I would say like the humans would be like a 6. Centaurs are a little bit under human, and so they would be like a 5. Basically, the more intelligent, more structured of a civilization a race has, the higher sentience they would be. And the whole purpose of this chart is to kind of figure out what are the chances of having an individual from this race become an adventurer, or to step out on their own, or being able to step out on their own. So for me, I have my version of the orcs, which I call the Growl, as level 4 sentience. Basically, the way I've kind of figured that as the number times 5 minus 100 is what you got to roll over. So a level 4, which would mean that if you wanted to have that particular orc Growl be an adventurer, roll above an 80, and it will show that it has the ability to adventure, to go out on its own. Its level of sentience or individualism is high enough where it can break free. So not all humans can be adventurers. There's some that are just, going to be farmers. Some of them are just going to be bakers. That's what they're comfortable with, and that's all they're going to be for the rest of their life. Okay? On my chart, I have 8 are elves, or in my world called Quen. And then you might have some other very specialized races. The more self-aware they are. So the only thing that popped into my mind was like a mind flayer from D&D. Because they are so advanced, they would be like a 10. Any mind flayer could pretty much go out and about and adventure. Okay? And so you can just create your list here, find out what sentient life races you're going to have in your game, and assign them a number. And then go, well, if you want a human to go out and adventure, they got to roll above a 60. Okay? And then, like I said, if you have an ogre, that would mean that they would have to roll above a 90 to go out and adventure. You'd still have all the limitations because they're stupid as heck, but it is a way that you can incorporate some of the dark races into adventuring groups. Because, like the example I had on the dwarves versus the orcs. I want there to be some dynamics in the group. Uh, let's say you have a group of 6 PCs. You can have one PC being an elf in the standard world, and then another PC being an orc. But this is an orc. Let's say he is a bounty hunter. Okay, the elf can be any profession, but the orc being a bounty hunter, that's kind of what they would be good at. And so you would make them adventure. Now, orcs hate elves, and elves hate orcs. But who would be the savage? If the orc kills the. I'm sorry. If the elf kills the orc, it was the elf who was the savage. Okay? And so you would have to have the orc try to come up with a valid reason to kill an orc that is no threat to him or to others. By having like an orc PC in the group, when they go to towns, it's going to cause a stir because, they've never seen a semi-peaceful orc before. And so that will add to the adventuring and all that. I think that there is too much potential in using all sentient races in your RPGs, in your adventuring, than saying, nope, you can only be the standard golden 5. Well, let's see, it's human, elf, dwarf, hobbit, and a gnome. That would get boring. So that's why I say include them all, give them a sentient rating, because that was just a single digit number, and see which ones can go out and adventure. Make them face racism, literally, as part of the group, because it would add to the game. Remember, this is a fantasy. Orcs don't exist. And so made up racism is just that. It's made up. And so people want to say, well, that is a reflection of real life. Okay. Real life, there's racism. We know that. We know that racism is wrong. So we can do this in our fantasies to try to teach others, to give each other perspectives on racism, sexism, or anything. Okay? Just because one aspect is bad does not mean that we can't tweak it a little bit and turn it into a learning moment. So this drama created by WotC is a waste of time. If you want sentient, intelligent, strategy using orcs, go for it. That's what I'm going to have. If you want foul, evil, murdering bastards, you can do that in your game too. It's your game. Have fun with it. Do what makes you happy. Just when you do your session 0, explain to them, how you feel on things, so that people understand that orcs are going to be foul or orcs are going to be intellectual. We're not going to follow the Tolkien world on everything. Okay? So hopefully I give everybody something to think about. Please leave your comments down below. And everybody, take care and be at peace.